Hello, all you legends. Welcome to Friday's video. I should really say all you top 24 legends, because we all support a football team who are going to play in the knockout stage of the UEFA Champions League. I've not been able to say that for a wee while. Yes, if you're anything like me, you're still basking in the glory of Wednesday night. And I sense that today's video is going to be a pretty packed one, because we've still got a bit of chat maybe from Wednesday night. We have some pretty big transfer news. There's the good and there's the irrelevant. It's not irrelevant, it's actually good news this time. Plenty of stuff happening, lots of speculation. And we also have a game tomorrow. I don't know if any of you actually knew that. I've not heard anyone actually mention that Celtic are playing Dundee tomorrow. So, we might discuss that as well. So where do I actually start today? And I genuinely don't know. My gut is that I should maybe kick off with the transfer news, because I woke up this morning to a hell of a lot of chat in my various group chats about various things. A fair bit of it about Kyogo Furuhashi. That's the big news that I'm sure you're aware of by now. If you're not, you might want to sit down for this. Because, Kyogo is going to be leaving us permanently. He has played his final game for Celtic. Although we did say that about Jota and Kieran Tierney as well. And they might both be lining up for us in the near future. But Kyogo is away for now at least. He's heading to Rennes. We know this because he's been photographed in France eating a snail. The last bit was a lie, but he has been photographed in France. And also, quite a small thing, but the Rennes boss, Jorge Sampaoli, said this yesterday. We hope that the deal will be completed today for Kyogo. And if it is the case, he could have minutes at Monaco. He is a player that we wanted ardently and who can bring us depth. So when you have an opposition manager speaking about playing Kyogo in his team this weekend, you probably have to come to terms with the fact that Kyogo is going to be moving on. So, that's happening. Still kind of coming to terms with it. Where am I on the various stages of grief? Well, I don't really know the stages of grief, so I'm not able to tell you that. Hang on. Right, I found this. I'm not quite sure what side you start on. I'm assuming it's a left. Yeah, it must be a left to right thing. Denial? Nope, I'm past that. Anger? Certainly not. Bargaining? Nah. Depression? Don't think so. Acceptance? Yes, I would say I'm there. All joking aside, I probably am there because I've kind of I'd heard murmurings of Kyogo leaving earlier in the month. You might have been able to tell that from the way I was speaking at the time, if you go back to some of the videos. And at the time it was Atlanta United, and I felt that was going to happen, and obviously it didn't. It's turned out to be Rennes. But I think this has probably been coming for a wee while. For whatever reason, Kyogo just wanted to try something new, maybe to enhance his chances of playing for Japan. You can't really blame him in that regard. He's given us so much. But I think Celtic will be relatively prepared for this. I think the timing of the report saying that he was going to be leaving, like literally within an hour of full time on Wednesday night, was pretty interesting. And I think clearly if that had come out before kickoff, all hell would have broke loose at Celtic Park and in my living room, because that would not have gone down very well. The fact that Kyogo played, and although he had a hat-trick of disallowed goals, he still played a big part in us winning that game and was then able to move on, and it just makes it that little bit easier, I would say, generally. But again, I'm at that fifth stage of the grief. I don't know where you are at the moment. Clearly a lot of people are pretty sad, depressed, angry perhaps. He's going to be so hard to replace. He's been such an important player for us. I mean, one of my favourite Celtic players ever, and I don't say that lightly. I mean, he genuinely is. His record in derby games, I think for me, will probably be one of the things I remember most about him. His record in cup finals, I think 5 goals possibly he scored in cup finals, maybe even more. His record in European games, I think after a slow start, was pretty good as well in the Champions League. I think of some of the goals he scored last season. So I'm going to hold off the Kyogo tributes until he eventually does move on, and I've got someone like Stevie or Asim with me to have a discussion about it. And basically there's so much happening today that I don't want to spend 10-15 minutes going through Kyogo's time at Celtic, but clearly we're going to miss him. He's going to be difficult to replace, but I think we can replace him if we, do it properly. I don't think Kyogo has been as good for us since Brendan Rodgers came back into the club than he was under Ange Postecoglou. That's genuinely how I feel. He's still been good for us, but he's not been at that level. I think if it was the Kyogo of 2 years ago that scored, was it 34 goals in Ange's second season that we were losing, then it really would be difficult to imagine us replacing him. I think genuinely we can replace him, but clearly he's going to take a lot of replacing. Adam Ida's not there yet. He might get there with more game time, but we need someone else to come in at this stage. So, that's happening. Let me know what you think about it. And in terms of a replacement, there was an interesting line from the Daily Record last night, which read, "Record Sport understands Celtic will ramp up their attempts to land a replacement striker for Kyogo, with a big name loan signing from England also a possibility." Big name loan signing from England. It's pretty vague. I mean, are we talking Erling Haaland here? Are we talking someone a little bit down the food chain? Have heard a couple of names, and you may have heard them as well. First one is Evan Ferguson, the Republic of Ireland international Brighton forward. Come back to him. The other name is Southampton's Ross Stewart, who has clearly forged a good career for himself down south. Not sure he quite have the same buzz as Evan Ferguson. Certainly Ferguson seems like he could be heading away from Brighton this month. That's been in the news yesterday. Their boss Fabian Hurtzler, like that one, spoke yesterday saying it's very important that we talk about these things internally, that we know the players' view. The way of Brighton and Hove Albion is to get young players in, try to improve them. He is from our academy. Of course, we see his potential, but it is also important that he gets enough game time to develop and to improve. Therefore, it's always a decision we make together. We want to hear his opinion, his thoughts. We want to hear also his needs, his wishes, and then it is also the club's side. Then it is about making the right decision together. So reading between the lines, it seems like Evan Ferguson is going to be moving on loan from Brighton this month. There is a lot of interest in him. Virtually all of the English Premier League is in for him. The likes of Spurs, West Ham, Everton, Bournemouth, Fulham. He's not really done it recent times, certainly under Fabian Hurtzler, but prior to that they were talking about, I think, £80 million as Evan Ferguson's value. And we know that Celtic have a fondness for Irish players generally, but seemingly at the moment as well. So could the stars be aligning here? As I say, hearing wee things, murmurings growing of Evan Ferguson, but would face a lot of competition there. There is a kind of, I guess one of the things about trying to sign a top striker in January is that a lot of clubs probably wouldn't want to lose an elite forward this month. Now, clearly, we're losing our elite forward this month, so certain factors do come into play and players want to move, etc. But it might be that the club look at some sort of stopgap for the next 6 months, a loan player, and then we move in the summer, maybe for someone like, and this is a name you will never have heard of, everyone, Matthias Gvisgaarden, the Brøndby forward, who has been linked with us for the past 4 windows. You're going to hear his name a fair bit more, I would say, as well. But he's quite sought after. So, yeah, I think Celtic are going to sign a striker in January. I know people are talking about Daizen Maeda potentially being in there, and people saying, Johnny Kenny is the replacement for Kyogo. But these are the same people who in the summer were saying Paulo Bernardo is the replacement for, Matt O'Reilly. And although not like for like, Arnie Engels was clearly signed after Matt O'Reilly went. So Celtic are going to sign another striker, even if it's a loan this month. So I guess it would just be about, what calibre of striker is that? And is he someone to really take us to the next level in Europe, even if just for the rest of this season? Because Kyogo was clearly our best striker. It needs to be someone who's able to score those goals and give us those big moments, because as I repeat, Adam Ida isn't quite there yet. So this is definitely one that's going to rumble on, but I'm pretty confident Celtic will sign another striker. And I guess we'll hear about Kyogo's departure at some stage soon. If Kyogo leaving is clearly the bad news, then Jota coming home is definitely better stuff. That is a goer. Sky Sports News are among the outlets reporting this now. They say that separate negotiations on a deal worth £8 million for Jota to rejoin Celtic have reached advanced stages. Jota said to be keen to return to Glasgow. And why wouldn't you be keen to return to that great city? I'm going back myself in a few months, that's a lie. Fabrizio Romano also on top of this, he says it's a €10 million deal, so that would make sense, £8 million roughly, which includes a 10% sell-on clause. Now, when Fabrizio Romano's getting involved in these things, normally means they're going to happen. So yeah, this is pretty mega stuff. I know it's not a direct swap deal, Kyogo for Jota, and I think there's like player amortisation rights and just stuff like that have absolutely no clue about, and there'll be reasons why Celtic maybe want and Rennes want this to be separate deals. But if you actually look at it, and kind of as fans we look at it as Kyogo out to Rennes from Celtic, Jota into Celtic from Rennes, I was thinking it must be the most box office transfer move in our entire history. Two adored, brilliant Celtic players, one leaving, one returning. Like, even if you're sad to lose Kyogo, which clearly we all are, you have to admit this is pretty exciting. Just take a quiet moment, doesn't need to be right now, just sometime later in your day, to imagine Kieran Tierney bombing up that left wing, overlapping while Jota has the ball. And then imagine the other side, and this is one that we obviously have at the moment, but Alistair Johnson and Nicholas Kuhn. Just imagine having all of these great fullbacks and wingers in the one team, and we'll still have Daizen Maeda there as well. Like, it is properly exciting stuff, and that could well be the reality going forward. Clearly, Kieran Tierney is going to be coming back. Even if we don't sign him this month, that's going to be happening, worst case scenario, in the summer. And now it seems like the Jota stuff is happening. Like, it's mad to me. It's totally mad that we're re-signing these players, but I think they're both really good re-signings. They're players who can improve and will improve the team. So yeah, Brendan Rodgers is building something pretty special, even if Kyogo's not going to be part of it anymore. Just briefly before we move on, I did notice that perhaps the best player from the women's team, I've only seen the women's team maybe play 4 or 5 times when Caitlin Hayes has been there, but for me, when I've watched her, she's been the standout player, standout defender, really solid, but scored a lot of goals as well. It was announced yesterday that she's left the women's side to join WSL team Brighton, and she posted a pretty emotional message and video online talking about her love for Celtic that goes back to her childhood, and the caption read, "I dreamed, I lived, and I will always be a fan that got lucky. Thank you, Celtic. Once a Celt, always." Yeah, she loved the club, and as I say, she was a real standout player, so it's a big loss for the women's team as well yesterday. Difficult times at the moment, but things are good generally. And that takes me on to the next point. I think everyone is still feeling pretty good after Wednesday night. It's an amazing achievement from the team to qualify for the top 24, and who knows how high we'll end up finishing up the table. 2 stats that have jumped out for me since full time on Wednesday, just kind of looking at the league table. In fact, further back than that, because our last 8 games at Champions League level, we've only lost 1 of those 8. And I think that's really, really impressive. When you don't have to go back far or back long to remember a time when Celtic were losing virtually every game, or certainly the vast majority of games at Champions League level. Now, I know that detractors may look at some of the fixtures we've had this year, and listen, it was a favourable draw, but we've still played some really good teams in the Champions League this year. Leipzig beat them. Atalanta, great draw away from home. Like, Atalanta flying, are they 4th or something in the table? Great team, and we managed to get a draw there. Even like Club Brugge when we didn't play well, and obviously beating the teams we should be beating as well, the likes of Slovan Bratislava and Young Boys. While we were favourites for those games, they're still champions of their countries, and these are the kind of games that Celtic have slipped up in the past. So yeah, we look hard to beat, and like we've conceded 10 goals as well in this season's Champions League. 7 of them were in Dortmund. So you're looking at having conceded 3 goals across the other 6 matches. So that to me shows that the defence is functioning well at that level, and obviously that's something that I feel like Celtic have shipped goals at Champions League level, in all my time supporting the club. So it feels now like we're starting to actually have a solid defence at that level to build from. And as I say, that will probably only get stronger when Kieran Tierney comes in. And yeah, we have Aston Villa to look forward to next midweek, knowing that the pressure's off to an extent. Like, I don't think it's going to be like a dead rubber like you get at the end of the Scottish Premiership season, or like we had on the 2nd of January at Ibrox. But I do think there's going to be more to the game than that. Clearly it's a big game for Villa. They're going to be going all out for victory in a top 8 spot. And for us, it's about trying to get as high up the table as possible. And there's a very, 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 very slim chance of a top 8 spot. Very slim. But maybe we can push up to like the top 16 with a positive result, even a draw. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's amazing going into the game knowing that we're looking for a result, but we don't need a result. So yeah, before then we have Dundee tomorrow, back to the grind at Celtic Park. And yeah, I don't know about you, it seems like we played Dundee probably about 72 hours ago, that game at Dens Park. That was obviously a pretty tricky one and ended up 3-3. And I could bring up we've got a score to settle pattern and revenge and all of that stuff, but I'd be kidding you all on. I just don't think that's really part of this at all. Simply put, it's just another game and another chance for us to get another 3 points closer to the league title. Yeah, I'm expecting a bit of the weight we've all been carrying to be lifted off tomorrow, both for the team and the support at Celtic Park. I think the Young Boys game's probably been kind of hanging over us all a bit and weighing us down for a while. You've always just known it's been there, and you've always just been thinking, right, I really want Celtic to get back to their top level for that point. The fact that we've now dealt with that game and won that game, I think everyone will hopefully feel the pressure's relieved slightly for tomorrow's game. And I think it'll be a great atmosphere. I'm expecting wholesale changes, to be honest, as well, just given that the Young Boys game will have taken a lot out of the players' legs, and that we're like straight into another Champions League game on Wednesday night. So yeah, a few changes, it's fair to say. I'm going for Kasper Schmeichel in goal, a back four of Anthony Ralston, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Austin Trusty. I just want those two to keep playing. I mean, Scales might come in, but I just want those two to keep playing, to be honest. Valle, that's Alex Valle at left back. Yeah, there might be calls to rest McGregor for this one. I've got him in. I read somewhere that Engels maybe picked up something at the end of the game in midweek, so it'll be interesting to hear from Brendan Rodgers later today if there is a press conference. I believe you lot are having bad weather, storms and stuff like that, so I'm not sure. But yeah, I've gone Callum McGregor, and then just rotate the players in front of him. Paulo Bernardo, bring him in. Luke McCowan in as well. I've gone for Maida on the left because he's going to miss Villa Park anyway, so might as well play him here. We're not exactly got loads of options in the wings for now. Going Yang on the right, and clearly Adam Ida is going to be the forward. Maybe there's an argument for someone like Johnny Kenny to start, given that Ida's going to be needed in Birmingham next midweek. Will he do that? I'm not sure. I think we'll see Johnny Kenny off the bench though. Official wise, the referee is Colin Stephen. The assistants are Jonathan Bell and Alistair Mather. VAR is Alan Muir. And I think we'll be absolutely fine tomorrow. I'm expecting a routine 3-0 win. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, enjoyed the channel and the work of me, but mostly the rest of the squad who make this channel, otherwise it would just be me, please consider subscribing. And also remember that every single video we put out is also out as an audio only podcast. And hello, you legends, now up to nearly 1,000 people every day who are listening to this. I hope you're having a lovely walk or a run at the gym. Right, I'll head off. Chat to you Sunday, everyone.